Facebook page and watch that show. It's loaded there and it's waiting for you to watch it and become your best self. Today we continue in that conversation. Hopefully we expect that we'll be able to finish that conversation and move into another area of the same conversation, talking about masculine and feminine powers and how we go through the process of becoming our best self. We'll do a quick recap of last week's conversation. Auntie Joyce will do that for us, and then when we're done, we sort of go straight into today's conversation. Here with us on the show today, Joyce Sika-Twum, founder, CEO of Self-Search Ghana. Auntie Joyce.
Hi.
You're welcome back to today's conversation.
Thank you very much.
It's a tall order today. We're going to try and finish off what we did last week.
Okay.
And then sort of dovetail into the masculine and feminine systems of power, if there's time.
If there's time.
So let's go straight into it.
Okay. So I think I'll start for the benefit of those who did not listen. Akofa said she tried to
do something
shift
about
from fixed to growth mindset. So basically, what we talked about.
Let's do something. Maybe when we get interactive, we'll let Akofa also
share with
us before the phone line starts ringing. Akofa, you do that for us, right? Okay, she's agreed to do
that.
That
would be awesome. So basically, what we talked about was that I think I started by saying that the topic was created for a certain category of people.
Indeed.
But it's on hindsight, it benefits everybody, really. I was looking at women executives and leaders within the age group of 35 to 65 who were going through a transition and who felt stuck. Okay, so they were you're either going through a transition in the area of your relationship or health and wellness or career and business, and you feel stuck. And I referenced a saying by Einstein, which says that the problems or challenges we face today cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we used when we created them. And I said that what I had observed, in fact, I had observed three things, and those three things informed the subtopics within this broader topic. One was the fact that between the ages of 30, 35 to 65, people tend to be stuck in their ways. Okay, so the same behaviors and the same way of thinking that they have used to approach certain issues in their life, they feel they can adopt the same thing. And so what we talked about last week was the need to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And we talked about the fact that our fixed mindset comes from the way we've been brought up, the way we've been wired, what society has told us, what parents have told us, and which has created that kind of fixed mindset. We did say that a fixed mindset is one who believes that their behaviors and their skills cannot change. Okay, so they believe that that's how they are. They say things that I've been like that all my years and nothing can change that. Or they see feedback as a personal attack. Okay, so when you give them feedback, they personalize it. They don't see the issue. They see self within the feedback. Okay, they see conflict as if there is conflict. There are breakdowns. They are not comfortable with that. It means that thing should not be done. Okay, whilst a growth mindset person sees opportunity for growth within everything. They see feedback as an opportunity for growth. They see breakdowns as an opportunity for a breakthrough. Okay, so it doesn't kill them.
But that takes a conscious effort though, doesn't it?
It does. In fact, it does. That's why I think when you have broken the inner barrier, it does take a conscious effort. You have to be intentional about it. And so we looked at that, and then we looked at two things, which again, I said there were observations that informed the topic of breaking through your inner barriers. The second thing was that we said that the one thing that stops us women and men as well from creating the kind of life you want or stepping into your greatness or maximizing your performance is identity, your self-concept, the way you see yourself, the way you see others, and the way you see life. And in fact, that's where I'm going to focus. That's what we are going to talk about today. The last observation had to do with the fact that even though women empowerment has helped us a lot, it has also created some kind of problem in the sense that some women are beginning to adopt the masculine system of power instead of maximizing their feminine system of power and sourcing from that in order to become their best self. And so if there's time, I'll touch on that, but we will finish our next session with that, okay? That is maximizing your feminine system of power instead of the masculine, which is not ours. So today, like I said, I'm focusing on self-concept or identity or inner barrier, because the topic is breaking through your inner barriers to become your best self. So what's the inner barrier? The inner barrier could be looked at as, we also term it invisible blocks, because they are invisible to you. They are those things that stand in the way of your ability to move, to grow, to evolve, and to transform. Okay, so sometimes you hear people say things like, I really, have my goals in place. I really want to do it, but I just find that there's something I can't do it. Something keeps stopping me. Okay, something keeps making it impossible for me to come out of this transition. Okay, so you're going through issues at work, and you find that you want to improve, you want to correct it, but there's just something. And we are saying that there are inner barriers that it's not visible to you. And I will explain it and you understand it, but it's not visible to you. Okay, so somebody may say that, I used the example of relationship the other time. Somebody would say that I have had 2, 3, 4 broken relationships. So it means relationships aren't good for me. Okay, so you find that the person goes into another relationship and the same issues begin to pop its head out, because there's a barrier, an inner barrier that has not been dealt with. Now, our self-concept is made up of, or your identity, how you see yourself, is made up of a matrix of 3 beliefs. Okay, the belief about yourself, the belief about others, and the belief you have about life. Okay, so if I believe that I am not enough, okay, if I believe that I'm not good enough, what happens is that it impacts on every other aspect of my life subconsciously. Okay, I believe that. So what happens in a workplace, somebody will bring something to you to do, you say, no. As for me, I can't do this. As for me, I'm not good enough. As for me, okay, if I believe that others don't love me, or others cannot be trusted, it has rippling effects on everything that you do. If I believe that life is hard, okay, and it's hard. It's hard, and it will be hard for you in every way. Okay, so in fact, I want to reference one woman who speaks very well to this. She says that her name is Claire Zammit, Dr. Claire Zammit of Evolving Wisdom, and she said, it is what our self-concept is what informs our expectations. It is the underlying sense of what we deserve to have or not have. Our behavior, our choices and decisions. And it is the underlying filter through which we interpret and respond to our experience. It's the filter through which I respond to my experience. So if I feel I'm not good enough, and I am called by my boss to correct me on something, in my subconscious, I don't feel I'm good enough. And so I give a meaning to his feedback from that angle.
Even without realizing it.
I interpret it as, yes, it's because he thinks I'm not good enough. That is why he's thinking of putting somebody in my place. Everybody says, yes, so there's always a pattern. So, like I said, the self-concept, I'm going to be looking at 3, what we call inner barriers, invisible blocks, that affect us as women. And I believe it applies to men, very much so as well. So the first inner barrier, or self-concept, or invisible block, I'm using several words for you to understand, because like I said, self-concept is how I see myself, is made up of a matrix of 3 beliefs: how I see myself, how I see others, and how I see life. Okay, that informs everything. And so sometimes you have an identity, a love identity, which stems from these blocks. You have a leadership identity, which stems from the block. So I'm going to just focus on 3, but they are about 21. I'm going to focus on 3, the 3 core that is underlining. One is I'm not enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you to the points I've noted. I'm going to read to you how it shows up, so that you would know whether you have an inner barrier of being not enough. Okay, how it shows up. And how it shows up is that you tend to take responsibility for other people's happiness, other people's satisfaction, and other people's fulfillment. So as I'm saying it, ask yourself, does it describe me in any way? So that I am not enough shows up this way. You take responsibility for other people's happiness. There are some people who it's all about others. They don't see themselves at all.
I'm happy when others are happy.
Yes, and you know, when you think about it culturally, as women, we are taught to make sure everybody is okay.
And there's always that one.
And they are sorry.
So, I was going to say, there's always that one person in the group, who says, I'm the one looking out for everybody.
Yes.
I'm the one who's not going to have a drink, so
Yes.
I can drive you
Yes.
home.
Everybody. Yes.
I'm the one who's going to call everybody and
yes.
say, have you arrived at home?
Yes. It's a good thing. But then when that thing now begins to stop you, when that I'm not enough begins to stop you from creating the life you want, from coming out of a transition and being able to navigate through it well, then it has become a barrier. Okay? So that's one. It shows up that way. Another way is that you feel you have to do more than everyone else to get the same amount of success or, respect. You feel you have to do more. There are some people who say that if I don't do more, they won't respect me. Or if I don't do, they won't, I have to show them. That comes from a place of not feeling enough. Okay, it comes from an inner barrier. So many times you can tell from how people speak where the barrier is. Another one is you feel as though you never have enough time. You never have enough money. You never have enough love. Okay, enough. Okay, you never have enough of anything. Now, so this is how it shows up. I've just given you about 3 because of the time. This is how it shows up. Now, the effect this has on others. Okay, so when you have an inner barrier of not being enough, the effect it has on others is that others feel that no matter how much they do to show that they love you and they support, it is never enough. So you can hear people say, that's why I don't know what to do again. Even if I cut my head off, you will still say, okay? So that's the effect it has on others. Others are overly dependent on you and they feel entitled to have you do more for less. Okay, so they give you more work and more work and more work. Okay, or they feel that you have to do certain things, and when you stop doing them, it's like, why? Every time you have done this, so why have you stopped? Okay, so people feel entitled. Now, usually when you have an inner barrier of not being enough, of not feeling that you are not enough, because you are enough, but it's a feeling. And it's like I said, it comes from a place. Yeah. It comes from how you've been wired. It comes from parenting. It comes from exposure, experiences that you've had in your life. So all of that is in your subconscious, okay? And it shows itself up in this way. So the belief usually you have about others is that you believe that others don't value you. You believe others, even though it's not true. But remember that the signs. What you focus on, you attract. I keep saying that. Okay, so you believe that others don't value you, that others want more from you than they do from others. Okay, this is because you are showing up in a certain way. The effect it's having on others is what I've said, and the belief you have about others. Now, usually the belief you have about life is that you believe that there isn't enough to go around. There isn't enough money. There isn't enough love. You can never have enough love. Hear people say things like that. You can't have it all. It's come from a place of their feeling of being not enough.
Love is not enough.
It's not enough. He can never love you completely. You can never. Okay? So I'm trying to break it down for you to see that it's, like I said, it comes from your self-image is made up of a matrix of 3 beliefs. The belief about yourself, the belief about others, and the belief about life. Okay? Now, one thing, though, is that we validate it. Many times you hear people say that, the things they are doing to me. Okay, so we see ourselves as the victim. It's coming from outside of me. But the truth is, it's coming from inside of you, and what you're showing is giving you the result.
You're projecting.
Yes. And so the ways in which you behave, that generate evidence of the fact that you are not enough. Is that? And then you would say that, you see, I told you. You know, many times we say, you see, because you are behaving in a way that generates evidence. What you do that generates that evidence is that you, most of the time, you say self-depreciating and self-diminishing things about yourself.
Without realizing
it. So you say things like, oh, as for me. As for me, no good thing can ever happen. Oh, as for me. Okay? So you validate your inner barrier of not being enough. Or you do things from a sense of obligation. Not because you love it. Okay, so you find people who say, I'm doing this job because I have to. Okay, it's a sense of obligation. Or, well, I'm taking care of them because I have to. I mean, this relationship, because everything is really from a sense of obligation rather than because they bring you joy.
So you're doing it because you have to, not because you want to.
No, not because you want to, not because you believe in it, but because it doesn't bring me joy. But if I don't do it, who will?
I'm compelled to do it.
Compelled to do it. Then you set impossible standards of success for yourself and others. You know, there are people you work with, men you work with within an organization, and they set standards for themselves and others that it's not achievable. But it's because they are coming from an inner barrier of not being enough. Okay, and they validate that. They validate that. What's making you laugh?
I'm laughing because some things are becoming clearer to me now from back in the day. You know how. So, back in the day when you started after national service, you would go into employment and all that. Even at your national service postings, the targets would be so high. You wonder. Now I'm thinking, so because they felt they were not enough, they dragged all of us along.
Yes, because they felt they were not enough. So they have to prove, they have to do more to show something. Because you see, when you feel enough, it's okay not to be the best. Okay, because there are resources you can source from. You know that if I don't have this, another person has it. I can leverage on that, and it still makes me enough.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you feel it all has to come from you, and if it's not coming from you, then there's a problem. Then it comes from an inner barrier of not being enough.
And that manifests in how you treat the people around you as well.
Yes, and it manifests in how the standards you set. It manifests in the things you say. The things you say really, really tell a lot about a person. When you take time to listen to people and what they say about themselves, and it's invisible, it's unconscious to you. Okay, they say about themselves, they say about others, ask for people. It tells where they are coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the inner barrier of feeling not enough.
Right.
Then there's the inner barrier of I'm invisible. Okay. I said I'm going to focus on these three. There's an inner barrier of I'm invisible. Now, those who have that inner barrier or that belief, and remember I said it's invisible to you. Okay, you are not aware that my wiring, my upbringing, what society has I have not questioned. Many times we don't question the things that we were told. Yeah. Okay? And we don't know that it's all within our subconscious and certain things trigger it. So those who feel invisible, this is how it shows up. One, you are disconnected from your own feelings, needs and desires, and they are invisible to you. Okay? So there are people who they don't even listen to themselves. They know they are tired, but they keep going. Okay? They are invisible.
I think I know someone like that.
Someone you close yourself, eh? Okay? They are disconnected from their own feelings, their own needs, and their own desires. When you see people who are disconnected from their own feelings, they can't say their desires. They are connected to other people's feelings, but not to themselves. Okay, I know people who would defend others who are going through a situation, and when it comes to themselves, it's very difficult for them to even verbalize the fact that they are hurting, verbalize the fact that
Do you suppose
they are
that
disappointed.
that point you just made there would be a function of the kind of orientation that we've been? Because I've seen that quite a lot in this country, where people sort of think it as modest to put themselves down and put others ahead of them. So you would do the best for everyone else, but when it comes to you, anything goes. Is that a lie that was sold to us at some point in our orientation?
I think it's a lie that we have owned. It's a lie that we have owned. We've taken ownership of, and we haven't questioned it. You'd also always. One thing I say is, it helps when you can disrupt the system a little, okay, and ask yourself, how is this working for me? How is this? You see, it's whenever anything becomes too much to the point that it becomes a stumbling block to you progressing, to you creating the life that you want, to you maximizing your potential, to you stepping into your purpose, then that thing is a barrier. That thing has become an inner barrier, okay? So the invisible one I'm talking about, you are disconnected from your own feelings, needs, and desires. And you see it in relationships, you see it in the workplace, where the boss is disconnected from his feelings, needs, and desires. And even when you go there, it's a no-go area. Okay, it's a no-go area. When you ask him, how do you feel? You look a little, no, I'm okay. He doesn't want to go there, okay? You don't assert your feelings, needs, and desires, even when you are aware of them.
You'd rather shut them away.
Yes, you rather no. We'll handle it later. Oh no. I can't show them that I'm hurt. I can't show that I'm disappointed. I have to always. It comes from a place, okay, and it doesn't all go well for your growth. If you remember, we said, when you don't allow yourself to shift from a fixed mindset, how I've been doing things, how I have been. My being, okay, in certain situations and in certain circumstances, that being has to alter in order for you to shift and be able to navigate a transition that you are going through. You cannot maintain the old system. You can't do the same thing the same way. And expect a different results.
Yes.
Okay. And so how it shows up, invisible, how it shows up, you don't assert your feelings, needs, and desires. You find yourself doing chronic selfless service. And you see that with so many. Chronic selfless service. The only time they would sit still is when they are sick. That's when you even
they just keep going and going and going
and they are in this. I keep saying, I say things like they are in this. It's good to be in associations. It's good, but when it becomes excessive, then you are running away from something. Okay, some people can't. Silence is uncomfortable for its place for them. Okay, to be alone and to do nothing. You are doing something even when you are
doing nothing.
Nothing. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, so
inaction in itself is action.
Yes, action, depending on what the inaction is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you find yourself doing chronic selfless service. They are in this association. They are in this one. They are in this one. They are in this one. Oh,
I'm getting dizzy already.
I this poem that I learned in I always remember it, and it says, "What is this life? If full of care." I remember my literature teacher. I don't remember all the words, but I think you can Google it. He says, "What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to something." I can't remember that part. "A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare." Okay, and that's the invisible one. I'm saying it, to describe that I'm invisible. Okay, you find yourself doing chronic selfless service. You have no time to stand and stare. Okay, then how the effect it has on others is that others tend to be unaware of your feelings, needs, or desires.
Because you're not communicating.
Because you're not communicating it. You are hurt. You are not saying it. So how would I know you are hurt? Some people say, can't you tell that I'm tired? How can I tell when you are not saying you are tired and you keep going? Okay, so the effect on others is that others tend to be unaware of your feelings, needs, and desires. Others disregard or skip over you, forgetting to ask how you are or what you want. Okay, so it's okay, you keep giving me, but they don't ask what do you need? How can I help you? Because you don't seem as if you need anything. You don't come across as if you need anything.
Self-sufficient.
Okay. Now, usually the belief you have about others is that you believe others don't care about you. Okay, you believe that others are selfish.
I found it.
You found it.
It's
Please read
called
it.
Leisure by William Henry Davis.
Yeah.
And it reads, What is this life if full of
Care.
What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this is, if full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. And this is a poem called Leisure by William Henry Davis.
It's a beautiful
poem.
one. It's a beautiful one. You know,
Stop and stare.
stop and stare. Stop and
Breathe.
admire the beauty.
Notice the flower.
Oh yes. Notice the flowers. Notice the people around you. Notice how blessed you are. I mean, really. Sometimes we don't. We keep going. You see, we keep going.
And we don't stop.
And we don't stop. And we don't
And
stop.
sometimes we miss the most important things also.
Yes. You miss the most important. And I always say sometimes there are some things that don't happen a second time. You miss the most important things, and you keep going and going and going. You cut away from people, you cut away from self. And so with the invisible, that is how it shows up. Now, the belief you have about life is that it is dangerous to be seen. Because you are invisible to yourself, you believe that the world does not need what you have to offer. Okay, so you are invisible to your feelings, you are invisible to your needs, you are invisible to your desires. Yeah, it's just, you are invisible. Okay, now how you behave, that validates this. Like I said, that it is not about what is happening outside, it is what is inside first. There is a passage in the Bible that says it's not what is outside of us that defiles us, but what is already inside of us. It's the anger, the bitterness.
Out of the abundance of the heart.
That is what is inside. It is similar. Okay, so we always say that, it's the people, it's the other person. But there must be something you are doing that is showing off, and that is giving that response or that reaction. Okay, so how you behave when you are invisible, when your inner barrier is that of being invisible, that validates this belief, is that you ask for what you want and need in ways that are attacking. Okay, or assuming that others don't care about you, because you assume already that others don't care. That's your belief about others. And so when you are asking for something, it's like, but give it to me. Don't you know I need it? Hey, man. Okay.
Maybe that's even the first time you're asking.
Even the first time you are asking, you are coming from a place of belief that others don't care.
And that you've done so much for everyone else.
Yes.
How can they not see?
I'm there for
and know
everyone else.
That
yes, you also.
I also need to breathe.
But you are not breathing yourself, so how would I know you need to breathe?
Maybe you are amphibious.
Okay, so you that's how you show up. You ask for what you want. You disappear when you don't get what you want. It's either you disappear, you do it yourself, you say nothing.
Silence is your friend.
Yes, you
It's
say
your
nothing.
go-to place.
You don't ask for what you want. Okay, you don't ask for what you want. You rather disappear, or you just you say, after all, the people don't like me.
They don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand.
Just hold that thought for me. I think this, and I like the way we're going today with the pace where we're going to get interactive, because for you to be a good business person, for you to be a good entrepreneur, for you to be relevant to the economy, the first thing you must know is understand yourself as a business person, as an individual. And then you can even begin to understand the people on your team, the people you've employed. And I like the emphasis on self today. So if you're listening to us this afternoon, this is Masterclass. And we're talking about how to become your best self and how to break those inner barriers. We want to take a quick break. When we come back, we get interactive. We want you to be a part of this conversation. Just pick up the phone and give us a call when we open the phone lines. How does this reflect for you as an individual? What are the inner barriers you have seen concerning yourself? When you call in, you don't want us to know that it's you. You can say a friend of yours. We will not, we will not ask you. But we'll take a quick message. When we come back, we get interactive.
1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Simple, right? But math is not so simple when you play Fly X with Win Boost from Betway. 1 plus 1 can be 6 and 2 plus 2 can be 12. Because you get your winnings boosted by up to 300% more. That means whatever you win times 3. So think about the last time won. How much would that be on Fly X with Win Boost? You do the math. Then visit betway.com.gh to play. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Joy 99.7 FM.
1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Simple, right? But math is not so simple when you play Fly X with Win Boost from Betway. 1 plus 1 can be 6 and 2 plus 2 can be 12. Because you get your winnings boosted by up to 300% more. That means whatever you win times 3. So think about the last time won. How much would that be on Fly X with Win Boost? You do the math. Then visit betway.com.gh to play. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Your favorite on-air business development program, Joy Business Masterclass, is in session, and you can interact with us on Facebook via the Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Business pages. If you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM or at Joy Business GH. Don't forget to hashtag JB Masterclass. You can also call us on 0302 216541 or send your questions and contributions through to the WhatsApp number 0551 111997, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is Masterclass. Phone lines are now open. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. You can send us your comments on 055 1111997. We're here in the studio today with Joyce Sika-Twum, founder and CEO of Self Search Ghana. She's talking to us about breaking those inner barriers and becoming one's best self. We'd like to hear from you. How have you been able to identify what your barriers are, and how have you become better or not at what you're doing? Today's edition of Masterclass is brought to us by Goyle. Goyle Good Energy. Goyle Yenara Yedia. Goyle PLC, your CIMG Hall of Fame and 2022 Petroleum Company of the Year, has taken the lead again. Goyle has opened ultra-modern liquefied petroleum auto gas service stations across the country. The modern auto gas service is safe, it's clean, and it offers affordable alternative fuel for your vehicle. So look out for Goyle auto stations in the following areas: Bema Camp Goyle Service Station, Accra; Kweshi Goyle Service Station, Accra; Pedu Junction Goyle Service Station, Cape Coast; Mpintin Goyle Service Station, Takrady; Kentin Krono Goyle Service Station, Kumasi. Goyle, delivering the safest and affordable gas at your convenience. Goyle Good Energy. Goyle Yenara Yedia. Phone lines are still open. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. You can send us your comments on 055 1111997. How does any of this identify with you or you identify with it. What are your inner barriers and how have they helped? We will go to the comments shortly, but Akofa is with us. Akofa, you be the first comment for me today. What you don't have to talk to us about the ones that are embarrassing. What are the ones that are not embarrassing that you've identified, and how are you becoming a better person?
I think it has to do with the I'm not enough bit, always wanting to do more. Because sometimes you hear people tell, oh, you're so good at this, and you're like, okay. Like, there's a part of you that believes that you are good enough, but then as to if you are living it, like you truly believe that, sometimes it's a little bit hard to do. So yeah, when she touched on that, I was like, I think that's me in there. So yeah, it's something that moving forward I need to work on.
I'll come back to you. I've got Jeffrey Lai from Mamprobi. Jeffrey Lai. It says, good afternoon, Mr. Jeffrey, my name is Barnafo, not Banahini. Thank you, of Masterclass. I'm a regular listener of your program, and I've been learning from day to day on your program. Anyway, the song you said you know but have forgotten last week is Que Sera Sera by Doris Day. Thank you very much, Jeff. We were actually listening to it before the show started, but it's a beautiful song. It's interesting for the conversation that we're having. So phone lines are still open, 03022165541. This one is, you didn't add your name. It says Eric from, is it EcoBank, right? Eric from EcoBank. It says, please, Yaw, kindly assist me with the title of the poem that we read. Okay, so it's the title of the poem is Leisure, Leisure, Leisure or Leisure, by William Henry Davis. Leisure by William Henry Davis. This one is okay. I think you didn't add your name to this one. Keep your comments coming. You can send us your comments on 05511119997, or pick up that phone. Give us a call 030221654. I think there's some more content you wanted to share.
Yeah,
right?
I'll share that shortly.
You want to react to Akofa?
I'm curious. Yeah, Akofa soon. Yeah, she said, I'm not enough.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes it's people who tell you, you're good at it, you're good at it, you can. But she doesn't
feel that it's enough.
Feel that way. And remember, I said it comes from a place, it's an invisible block. Okay? Now, if Akofa was having a coaching session with me, we would go to, what are some of the things she was told as she was growing up? Okay? That makes her not even believe that she has what people are seeing. Okay, so it stems from a place. It always stems from a place. So when you're able to identify that, then you're able to help Akofa begin to see the patterns. Okay, because these things are patterns. So you see that in other things, it's not only when people say it, but you yourself, other situations in your life, you've seen that, there's that same pattern she's showing.
It runs through.
It runs through.
Right.
And then there's a process of helping you to break it. And we'll get to that now. So Akofa, thanks for sharing. There's something I wanted you to share. I'm shifting the focus to you now before I go to the last one.
Very well. I mean, I identify with the third one, which is
invisible. The second one. The first is I'm not enough. The second is invisible. I'm here to go through the third one.
Okay. So the invisible bit you talked about, not taking time to rest.
Yeah.
So I sometimes find myself on the go for many things. So I just keep going, and I don't stop until the body makes me stop. And sometimes I wonder, is it that I love to just keep going, or there's something that is causing this reaction? Which I identified with it when you mentioned it. It just sort of clicked that. Okay, I love to belong to too many groups. I love to do this. I love to move. I'm always on the go to do X, Y, Z. But that's because I justify it to myself, and I say, there's always an opportunity to learn. And I find that when I've learned, I'm able to share more, and it enriches my interaction with people. So I just keep going, but then I don't rest, which is what you mentioned.
I think the question you would want to ask yourself is, what is this denying me of? Okay, if you can look at it from that angle, what do I stand to gain if I gave myself permission to rest? What would I stand to
I might enjoy it too much.
If you could look at it from that angle, then you would know how it's becoming a problem in other areas. Okay, and you would give yourself, it's permission. The whole thing is about permission, giving yourself permission to do it. Thanks for sharing. This one, the interview has shifted. The third one, I have your permission to go on.
Go on,
the third one is I am alone. So the 3 core ones that are underlining, I said there are 17 more, okay, because they're 21. Now, the 3 core ones are, found in all the others in a way. That's why I'm focusing on that. The I'm alone one, this is how it shows up. You experience a low-grade chronic depression, a deep sense of sadness, having given up hope of ever being deeply connected to others. There are people who can be with you, but they are not there. Okay, they are with people, but they feel alone. Okay, they have friends. They would say things like, they tell me about themselves, but when I'm going to tell them, nobody will really listen. So I just listen to them. Okay, so they can be with people, but they are alone. Okay, so it shows up in that way.
Would that have anything to do with their temperament also? It's a mixture of a number of things.
It's a mixture of a number. You see, the underlining thing is whenever that thing, remember I keep saying, becomes a hindrance, or you feel stuck when you have to transition in either relationship or things are happening with regards to your health or your wellness or business, and you find that you are stuck. That is when you know it's a barrier. That is when you know there's an inner barrier, because there's temperaments. There are some people who like to keep to themselves, and it's
the things
fine.
I want to do, I cannot do. The things I do not want to do, those are the things I find myself doing.
Yes. Okay, so temperament has its place. Okay, but when the thing becomes a stumbling block to your progress, to your growth, to you evolving, when you feel that, then it's a barrier. You get it? So
do you have a barrier this afternoon in your business, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as someone who is just contributing to the economy? Is there a personal barrier that you think you're dealing with? We're talking about business, we're talking about entrepreneurship, but we want you to also take a minute and step back and look at yourself and say, why do I do things the way I do them? Why do I make these kind of business decisions? Am I a hoarder? Am I risk averse? Why am I risk averse? Is there something in my inner self that is causing me to make these decisions? Because we believe that once you pay a little attention to yourself and you deal with some of those things, it will then spill out and affect positively every other part of your life, including your business, including your economy. So pick up that phone, give us a call, 0302 216 541, or send us your comment on 055 11997. I think we've got a few more minutes.
Yeah,
so,
I'll quickly run through this. So how that one shows up, I'm alone. You rarely ask for support, or you ask in ways that alienate others. You either demand, you whine, you complain, or you hint at what you want, okay, without being so clear. And so the person doesn't really know what you want, okay? Now you feel chronically under-supported, okay? Feel chronically under-supported. The belief you have about others is as people always leave you. So you have situations where this person comes into your life, the next moment he's gone or she's gone. This person comes into your life because you exhibit signs of being alone. So they don't have a place in that space.
They'll say, penipa.
Often people do not give you what you need from them. That's the belief you have about people, but they don't give you what you need from them. The effect this behavior has on others is that others find you unapproachable, and others have a difficult time being able to support you because you are alone. Okay, others assume you do not need anything from them. Now, the belief you have about life is that life is sad.
So people
and
can't
lonely.
get this right with you.
People can't get
even
it
if
right
they try to be innovative. They'll put their foot in it.
Yes, and how you validate this feeling of being alone is that you don't connect. You like your self-help books. You are alone reading your self-help books.
There's a way we say this where I come from. I come from a crop, and there's a way we say this. I'm going to say it slowly. They say, "Wufi wechia, na wakufi wenim. Wufi wenim, na wakufi wechia." It means we can't get it right.
Yes, we can't get it right with you. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And you validate it by avoiding joining collectives, communities. And ask me, I don't want to be. As for me, it's only me. It's me, myself. And okay, it means you are alone. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm wrapping up on this. And remember that we started from a fixed to a growth mindset, and we are saying for you to be able to break free from your inner barriers and become your best self, you must first shift from that fixed. So as you're listening to me, you may be saying, but that's how I've been. It has helped me. It hasn't done anything to me. So you will find that you will find yourself in situations where the way you have been doing things is not working as it used to. Okay? And so you have to now look at what is the barrier. Okay? And when you identify the inner barrier, then we can move on to other things. Now, I said I was going to talk briefly about power, even before we get to masculine and feminine power. I'll wrap up with that. Now, visualize a situation where you have this barrier. You have your own, I'm not enough, or I'm alone, or I'm invisible. And at the same time, you have adopted a masculine system of power. And you are not harnessing your feminine system of power. You know, God in his wisdom made us different, regardless of what we choose to do with ourselves. Okay, regardless. Now, the masculine, I'll talk in the next session about the masculine system of power and how to become our best self as women and as men. We should harness, we should source from there, from our feminine system of power. Okay, because when you look at power, there are three ways in which we exhibit power. We exhibit power over, we exhibit power in, power with, power to. I'll expand on all of that in our next session. So simply put, these are three core inner barriers that we tend to have. You may have one of them, you may have two, you may have all three. In our next session, we would look at how we are going to source from our feminine power or from our masculine power to become our
Just
best
very
self.
briefly before you go, 30 seconds, if you will. After the show today, if somebody's listening, they want to have a further conversation, where do they find Self-Search?
Okay, in fact, I'm going to put out an action. What we are doing is that we are doing, we call it seven weeks essential course for becoming your best self.
Right.
And in September, and we would look at all of this. We help you to identify your inner barrier. We would help you to see the patterns. We'll help you to break through that inner barrier and to become your best self. So the numbers, let me just I don't want to give my number, so I'm going to give the office. Okay, the number one, you can call 024 187 4040. 024 187 4040, or you can call 020 8626 876. That is if you want to be part of the 7 weeks essential, I call it 7 weeks essential course to becoming your best self.
And you can be found on Facebook, on Instagram, on wherever. Just type Self-Search Ghana.
Self-Search Ghana, yeah.
Thank you so much. Joyce Sika-Twum sharing some thoughts with us here on how to become your best self, breaking those inner barriers. She's also the founder and CEO of Self-Search Ghana Limited. John C. Maxwell once said that we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. If you remember nothing from today's conversation, remember what John Maxwell said. We cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. This has been Masterclass. God willing, we come your way with yet another exciting edition next week. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you same time next week.